Did you know that you can paint on almost anything with watercolor if you know the trick? And I'm going to show you the trick today. I'm going to show you how you can turn these wooden slices into beautiful watercolor paintings using my trick. It's not really a secret trick. You can make ornaments or you can give them as gifts. It's up to you. But I am going to show you how. If we haven't met, I'm Viv. This is Art with Viv, and let's just go to the studio. Now I've got all the supplies that you'll need, and let me show you what you're going to have to get. Get a wood slice. You'll need, I have a birch, but you can get any kind of wood slice. You can find them at department stores sometimes, and most definitely at craft stores. You'll need watercolor ground. Now this is by Core, but there's other ones out there. That's just the one that I have. I'm not promoting Core. Buy whichever watercolor ground that you can find. You'll need some ribbon, whatever you like. You'll need a screw eye. I think that's what it's called, or an eye hook, I'm not sure, because you're going to screw that into the top, and that's going to be your holder. You're going to put your ribbon through that, and that's what you're going to hang it on your tree with. A flat brush so that you can apply the watercolor ground. A pencil to draw on there. Some watercolor brushes that you like, and of course some watercolor. So I first started off, I sketched it out on some paper. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sketch it directly onto the watercolor ground. Now, the part that I didn't show you was I applied that watercolor ground. The directions are on the bottle container of it. You'll want to apply 2 to 3 coats of that watercolor ground, and then you'll let that dry for at least 2 to 3 days. And then it's ready to paint on. So I'm just sketching out a really easy, simple snowman, and then I am going to paint him. So I just got the snowman, I got a little background. I went in there, I got some really deep blue. You can use whatever blue of your choice. I want this to look more like it was at night, so I went with a deeper blue. If you want it to be like a sunny day, I would go with a paler blue. And as you see, it goes on just like watercolor. I mean, it's just like watercolor paper. Well, let me say it's not just like watercolor paper, but it is very similar. You can still get your washed look. You can get that gradation, that spontaneous look. It is a little bit different to paint on. Now, another suggestion, I did not do this for this particular ornament, but another suggestion is to take some fine sandpaper and sand your wood down so that it's got a smoother finish for when you put that watercolor ground on top of it. Now I painted all around the snowman, and now I took some pale blue and I just did the shadows on the snow, and I'm just taking a wet brush and sort of brushing out that sky just a little bit. It was just a little bit too dark for me, so I just took a clean brush wet with water and just sort of splished, that's a technical watercolor term, splished the sky around. Now I've switched over to a golden maple detail brush, and I'm just using black straight out of the tube. That's not something I normally do, but for this one I did it. I just went with my lamp black, and I'm making the edges darker, and then taking a little water into that paint, going around the brim just to dilute it and make it a little bit lighter. So again, you put the thicker, more concentrated paint right on the outer edges, and then take your brush, dip it in some water, and then blend that paint toward the center. You want your center to be a little bit lighter so that it looks like it's a rounded hat on his head. And so you'll just make the edges darker and the center lighter, and you do it just like you do with a regular watercolor. Now I got this beautiful red. I love this red in this kit. Debbie, one of my friends, Debbie, sent me this watercolor kit, and I love these colors. They are so rich and thick and delicious. Oh, I just love it. But that red particularly. So I got that one out, in addition to my normal palette, because mainly I just wanted that red. So I'm painting little stripes all down his little scarf. It's blowing in the wind, and I'm leaving part of his scarf white. So, just some little stripes. Got some orange, paint his little carrot nose. You notice I leave just a tiny little bit of that area in the middle of his nose, white almost. And then I took some of that juicy red and I added a shadow while it was still wet into that orange, and it just blends right on the wood slice. Now I'm taking my black. I gave him a little eye and a little smile. Let's give him some little buttons. He needs some fun little buttons. I don't know why, but I did not give him any arms. He's armless, but sometimes that's how it is in life. Now I'm going to do his band of his hat to match his scarf. So of course red, and I painted the concentrated paint on the edges and then dipped my brush in clean water and blended that toward the center, making sure that I left the highlight there so that it looks more like a rounded band it's going around. And I added just a few shadows around his body and around his neck with a really watery ultramarine blue. And I went with the ultramarine blue to contrast with that blue in the background. The blue in the background is indigo. So that's where I'm going with that. And my ultramarine blue, I just really, really thinned it out like with a lot of water, because I still want the snowman to look like he's white, but he needs some shadows. So that's what we're doing. Also on the snow, same color, ultramarine blue, and I'm just thinning it out with a lot of water, and then just once I get it on the wood slice, blending it out with my brush. So it looks like he's just kind of perched on a little hill there. He's looking over the hills, and I think later on we're going to add some trees once I get these hills in. So you'll just dab into your green. I'm just using sap green. I'm not even mixing up a green. I'm just using sap green, and I am doing little cone shapes, smaller at the top, larger at the bottom, and I'm just doing sort of an irregular brush stroke, just kind of tapping it down the page. And as I go down, I'm making those little branches wider, those little brush marks wider and wider. So of course it looks like a tree, skinny at the top, fat at the bottom. And I'm bringing it down to the horizon line and right up to the snowman. That helps, those dark trees behind there help make him pop out from the rest of all that snow we got going on. And I decided he's still blending in some areas, so I'm taking a little bit more blue of that ultramarine, a little less water in it so that it's a little darker, and just sort of painting those shadows around the snowman a little bit darker so that he stands out. He's not blending into that snow. Then I got out my metallic watercolor set, and I am going to take that watercolor set. I'm just going to do a star. I'm going to do a gold star. First, I'm adding some, just a few little shadows right around his scarf and around where his abdomen and his backside meet. Just adding some shadows there so that you can see that he's made out of 3 big snowballs. And that kind of separates those with the shadow. So now I've got my gold, and I'm painting in a little star. It's not as shiny as I wanted it to be. It's not as bright, so I'm going to add a little bit of white gouache in there just to brighten up that gold just a little bit, just so it stands out just a little bit. I probably should have used silver. Next time I'll try silver instead of the gold. I just had gold on my mind. Now I'm just taking some white gouache, and I'm doing tiny little snowflakes. And then I'm just going to add a little white gouache to the trees so the trees look like they have some snow on top of them. Whew. This is not really a hard project. Just remember to apply your watercolor ground onto that wooden slice and let it dry for at least 72 hours. And then you're going to put, once everything's dry, once your watercolor's dry, you're going to put your screw eye in. I'm not going to show you that on camera. Instead, I'm going to show you with a little bear ornament that I already have made. You'll just cut your ribbon to a certain length, whatever you think. I don't have a certain measurement. You can make your bow bigger or smaller. So you fold it in half, pull it through, that screw eye and then make a bow on the front part, just like so. And then you'll pull that bow, and at the same time you'll pull the holder and it tightens it up around that screw eye, and there you go, ready to hang on the tree. Just the cutest little thing ever. Okay, maybe not the cutest thing ever, but it's pretty cute, and it'll make a great ornament or a gift for someone. So that's it, our cute little snowman. I hope you've enjoyed this. Just remember to get you a screw eye, get you some ribbon, and get you some watercolor ground. That's what you need, watercolor ground. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I enjoyed making these cute little ornaments. This is the one we made today. You just finish it off with that eye hook, or I think that's what it's called, screw eye, whatever. Put a little ribbon on it and you have a beautiful ornament that you can either put on your own tree or give away as a gift. Simple, simple. All you need is that watercolor ground. I told you I would show you the trick. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I want to thank all my patrons. They help me keep this channel running, and I do appreciate all of your support. If you're not a patron and you're interested, I'll link it below and you can check it out. All right, Merry Christmas.